Facing the giant who was rushing towards him, the ox demon mech showed his fangs and collided with the giant directly. The giant mech rushed over while the ox demon mech swayed a little. Its center of gravity suddenly appeared to move left and right. This was a beast-type technique, making it easy to destabilize the opponent's center of gravity, not to mention the giant's. It had the same effect for heavy mecha. However, this time, Mu-Gen did not move, but it was useless. This showed that Mu-Gen had already lost even his ability of judgment. The ox demon mech suddenly moved to the left. As expected, the giant opened its arms and prepared to catch him. However, the ox demon mech immediately made another sprint. The giant was swayed away again. Bio's ox demon mech made a torque turn. The mech also made a squeaking sound. Instantly, he made a forced control and adjusted the angle, the Grand Earth ability X bursting open. Shocking impact. Without the protection of the energy shield, the titanium blade on the mech's head could directly pierce the giant mech. However, the giant mech suddenly fell straight to the side, elbow drop crush. It crushed the ox demon mech who was ready to release its power beneath it. This was the elbow drop seen in wrestling. The ox demon mech was captured by the giant mech. Mu-Gen, who was beaten up badly throughout the whole battle, hit the opponent for the first time. Mu-Gen's eyes glared as wide as copper bells. Huda, Tita warriors never gave up, never gave in. Huda, the ox demon mech was lifted up and Bio's energy shield activated. The ox demon mech was heavily slammed to the ground, and the ground cracked open with a blast. This impact, this scene, just looking would cause one to feel goosebumps. Huda, the energy shield shone brightly, but it was not so easy to break the energy shield with a purely physical attack. Huda, 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 hong. The giant suddenly went mad. At this moment, the ox demon was like a beast caught by the hunting giant on Tita Star. Maybe the beast had been attacking all along, but as long as it was caught by the giant, it meant death. The energy shield could no longer withstand such an attack, and burst directly. Just 2 times, with 2 slams, the ox demon mech that claimed to be Arbiter's most stable beast-type mech was broken into pieces. In fact, at the 3rd critical hit, Bio had been forcefully shut out of the battle system. Even with the protection of the energy shield, such an impact would shock and kill the pilot directly. Huda, the whole place was filled with only a giant's mysterious roar. No one knew what it meant. Mu-Gen hammered his chest to vent his desire to fight. Bio was at an advantage for the whole battle but died due to one mistake. Winning 10 matches with one's incredible strength. On the sniper's battlefield, Lai Shin's mech was lit up with a strange, blue flame. It rushed towards Simba in a straight line. The speed was very fast, but Simba sneered. The sniper rifle locked on, and it was not in a rush to shoot. His opponent was angered and ready to gamble with her life. All he needed to do was calm down and end his opponent's life with one shot. In Simba's eyes, the opponent's every possible movement travel pattern was extremely clear in his mind. Every movement of the flaming elite guard, and its next move, was in his control. It was as accurate as a heartbeat. This was a sniper of the highest caliber. The distance was very close, and the speed of the flaming elite guard was increasing. Was she going to charge? This was the taste of death. Simba's mouth curled into a smile. The moment the power was released was also the time to shoot. Zung, 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 the sniper rifle bombarded, 4 shots in an instant, X-point shot, all avenues sealed. There was no way to survive, but, what the heck was this? Lai Shin's flaming elite guard flew upwards towards the sky and flew directly to the annihilator on the roof. When there are no paths to walk, I can fly. Lai flame technique, flame acceleration. The forceful control of the mech caused the mech to lift off. Using the heat of the flames, controlling this heat, grasping this rising force. This was the true understanding of the ability X in the Lai flame technique. She avoided the X-point shot completely. Just as Simba was about to turn the muzzle of his rifle, he realized that Lai Shin was already in front of him. When the sniper and scout came into close contact, what met the sniper was the kiss of the blade. Lai Xin had already thrusted her titanium blade directly into the cockpit of the Annihilator, and kicked the Annihilator off the building immediately. FCK. I actually wasted so much of my strength, Lai Xin said fiercely. Lai Guang, you bastard, I will live your share of life, and next time come to my dreams often. I'm not afraid of ghosts. In an instant, there was a dramatic change in the battlefield. The two lanes of the Asura battle team actually collapsed, and they collapsed without any warning. On the scout side, the Reaper was playing hide and seek with the Wind God. Sweeney was wary of Zhang Shan's last warp. Last time, it was this way that she was dragged into a dead space by Zhang Shan. The only thing Zhang Shan could do was die together with her, so she had to get this trick out of the way. Her deliberate sneak attack had failed, so she showed a flaw on purpose and was slashed once by the Wind God. Sure enough, Zhang Shan gave chase happily. The magnetic source alone was not enough. Zhang Shan had to warp and then connect to the magnetic source for a second displacement to get to her. All men were decisive. Zhang Shan was undoubtedly a passionate and decisive man. He followed up immediately and made the last warp. The magnetic source appeared in front, blocking Sweeney's escape route. Sweeney sneered and suddenly went invisible. She made a sharp turn, used the wall as leverage, and counterattacked Zhang Shan. Of course, the important point was that Sweeney had thrown out the killer move that she had hidden for a lifetime, Wind Captivity Ability X. Sweeney's wind ability was not very strong, the scope of the ability was also limited, and it had only one direction. It would be easy to avoid. Sweeney had hidden this deep, because one day, it would be useful. Leaving one trump card unturned was equal to one life. And it was this moment, invisibility plus wind captivity, a fatal combination. However, the Wind God disappeared. Zung, the beam saber cut into the Reaper from behind directly, the fourth warp. Zhang Shan smiled a little. Women should never play tricks with men, because it will always be the women who suffer. People would fall. As long as they could stand up again, they would grow. Zhang Shan was such a man. This was his first time beating a strong opponent with his own power after entering the elite academy. Zhang Shan was a person with exceptional memory and logic. Invisibility was a scary ability, especially on such a powerful person like Sweeney. However, invisibility was not without trace. The movement of the mech still made sounds and depended on habits, especially habits. According to the habits and referencing to sounds, he could make a prejudgment. The more nervous it was towards the back, the more people would rely on habits and instincts. When Zhang Shan discovered that Sweeney's travel patterns were more and more in line with his judgments, he knew that he should accept Sweeney's flaws. And this was the culture of battle. He, Zhang Shan, was a man. 3 lanes collapsed. Everyone was dumbfounded. The people in the elite academy who were indifferent at the start were all stunned. What had just happened? Actually, many people's attention was not on the battle. They all did not know how the 3 lanes had collapsed. Not to mention those who had already left. What did you say? Asura's 3 lanes suddenly collapsed? Are you stupid? Don't fool me. I am already in the car. Heck, it is true. Driver, turn back, I am not going back anymore. FCK, are you playing tricks on me? Give me money. What? Asura's 3 lanes collapsed. The tides are changing. Ah, dear, I suddenly remembered that my mentor is looking for me. I will meet you later. Really, I'm not fooling you. You're more charming than that old geezer mentor. *T, one could slowly pacify their girlfriend. Such a battle was not to be missed. If Saruman Snake won, there was at least more than 10 friends who would have to livestream themselves eating *T. How could they miss such an exciting moment? On the other hand, it was Ares College that did not seem extremely enthusiastic. It was not that they were not enthusiastic, but everyone was more nervous, and all of them did not dare to shout. They only tried their best to suppress their excitement because these 3 lanes did not represent everything. Achilles was on the verge of breaking. When Olivius got news of his 3 lanes collapsing, he started to be more vicious. On the face-to-face battlefield, Martsu finally could not stand around any longer. Martsu never had thought of such an end, but that was useless because the Van brothers were here. This world belonged to Asura. The 2 brothers, Chen Shu and Yao Ailun, hugged each other tightly. What the heck was this going against the heavens? 5 against 2. This was practically a huge advantage. After one night of worry and fright, and so much suffering, the situation actually turned out to be like this. Lady Boss Xiao Fei was, on the other hand, very calm. Her eyes swept across these two, and she said in a domineering voice, "What are you guys panicking for? I said that Saruman snake is very strong." Chen Shu and Yao Ailun laughed heartily. At this moment, the two of them obviously would not debate anything with the principal. It was good as long as they could win. On the battlefield of a team battle, 5 against 2. That was no doubt a gigantic advantage, but when the opponents were the Asura brothers, then the situation was not so definite. When the 3 lanes collapsed within a short period of time, Martsu did frown. He did not expect things to be like this. No wonder Olivius was stressed. Previously, when they returned from IG, Martsu felt that Olivius was a little strange. This was indeed an opponent who could create miracles. But the Arbiters also had a specialty, and that was to destroy miracles. Hong, the Conqueror mech started, its engines roaring. It pulled out its big, alloy sword and rushed towards Wang Zheng with big steps. Ultimately, it was still this main battlefield that would determine victory or loss. He would personally judge this Wang Zheng to see if he really had 3 heads and 6 arms. Wang Zheng's Hercules arched slightly and took out that comedic shovel. To be honest, this was the first time someone, at such a high end, such a competition, had used such a comedic mech. No matter how you looked at it, it was not proper or appropriate. The Hercules was very solid but too plain. It could not even be placed with high-end mecha. Zheng, the Conqueror mech rose towards the sky, its big, alloy sword slashing down immediately. Wang Zheng did not evade. Even if Martsu's attack was undefeatable, he would only know after he tried. Wang, the alloy shovel locked the attack trajectory. There was a loud explosion and a shockwave swept out. The Hercules was directly suppressed by half a head. The Conqueror mech held its sword with one hand and pressed down tightly on the Hercules. Martsu was measuring his opponent's strength. Battle techniques after reaching a certain level would reach a bottleneck. It would then become the most basic of battles. If he had chosen to use the Phantom King or the Storm Swordsman, mecha that won by techniques, then he would have definitely been beaten up badly by Martsu. Only the Hercules, the one with the strongest defense, had the chance to block it. Hong, then a second wave of strength pressed down. The ground beneath the Hercules' feet directly cracked open. His legs gave out creaking sounds due to great pressure and started to bend. At this moment, the other lanes had no way of giving support in time. If Wang Zheng was using psychological warfare, it had no doubt successfully stalled for time and allowed the other lanes to gain advantages. But if he was beaten to death by Martsu, it would be wasted effort. Suddenly, everyone realized that Wang Zheng was the weakest link. It was not that Wang Zheng was not strong enough, but that Martsu was too strong. This was a true overlord who could defeat the Imperial Glory in a second, alone. Based on the plan, if the others succeeded, they would immediately support Achilles. Achilles was the first target for support. However, the battle between Wang Zheng and Martsu had at once entered a shocking stage. Martsu's first slash suppressed Wang Zheng's Hercules mech. Followed closely was a second strike with the same posture. This required a pilot whose body parts could exert strength to a terrifying extent. Martsu not only could do it, but this type of instant exertion of strength, he could actually do it to the extent that it was no lesser than the pressure from the first full-strength blow. Hong, the Hercules mech immediately was under even greater pressure. This meant that Wang Zheng had no way of evading or making any other moves when his opponent slashed the second time. The Hercules vibrated violently. The cracks in the ground spread out in all directions. Martsu's lips curled into a cold smile. The third strike slashed down shortly after. Wang Zheng did not make any extra moves. At this moment, any meaningless change could cause a fatal end. Hong, the alloy shovel clashed fiercely. A shockingly huge quake. The Hercules vibrated fiercely. The Conqueror mech kicked out. Hong, the Hercules did not make any evasive moves. It was directly kicked more than 10 meters away and hit the wall. On the other battle lane, Achilles' breathing was rushed and uneven. He was forcing himself to hold on. Olivius had already gained the upper hand. The lighthouse warrior's surprising defense had been used to the maximum by him. The entanglement of soft weapons, the cooperation between Ability X and the lighthouse's system of blocking and tormenting. All sorts of small tricks to prevent having to clash head-on with Olivius and at the same time pull apart the distance. Every time the Overlord mech was about to give a fatal blow, Achilles would throw out the death hook and hook into any blockage to drag himself out of the battlefield. Of course, just depending on that was far from enough. If his speed was too slow and he had yet to escape from the attack range, then he would be beaten into pieces. But it was enough with the addition of his ability X, it caused the forceful blows of the fierce Overlord mech to miss. But with this stalling, Achilles' power had been almost completely depleted. Finally, before Achilles threw out a hook, he had the wind knocked out of him by Olivius' fierce shield crash. The Heavenly King Arts faced with the impact of the Heavenly Overlord attack started to subside. The long spear pierced towards the pilot cabin of the lighthouse warrior. Hong, Olivia's head tilted to the side as he paused, a laser flashing past. Lai Xin had rushed over. Looks like I'm right on time. Achilles took the opportunity to pull apart the distance. At this moment, on the building roof diagonally across, Zhongshan's wind god had arrived too. My favorite thing is to gang up against one person. Hong, Long, Mu Gen's giant mech had also rushed over, dragging along its big sword. The four of them surrounded Olivius' Overlord mech. Olivius, just surrender. After all, we are so familiar already, Zhongshan teased. The wind god was moving slowly. This was a psychological battle tactic. While it was a 4 against 1, the powers of these four were already depleted. It was not possible not to suffer any damage when getting rid of their opponents. Zhongshan already did not have the ability for spatial movement. Achilles was already in a half-wasted state. Mu Gen might still be energetic, but this might not be useful when facing Olivius. And Lai Xin probably had the best condition and should have some strength left. But her mech already had absolutely no defense left. Olivius smiled coldly. When have you seen a lion being scared of a herd of sheep? Is that so? Then goats that can open fire, how about that? Almost at the same time, the four people with great teamwork shot their lasers and launched a whole round of lasers onto Olivius' Overlord mech. And at the same time, the Overlord mech rose to the sky and evaded this round of shooting. This was the Overlord mech. It had a super strong ability for leaving the battlefield. Except that Olivius did not move far. He also did not need to move far away. To be honest, these four guys in front of him were no threat at all. It was only a matter of time to get rid of them. Olivia's mind was distracted by the battle situation at Martsu's side. He originally wanted to fight Wang Zheng, but that idea was rejected by Martsu. Olivius could not rebut back. Zhongshan and his friends were very calm. They had absolutely no intention of being proud. Wang Zheng's battle tactic was to use all they had to stall Olivos, to wait for him to come. Everyone knew if he could not come, then Saruman's snake would have no hope. You guys stall him first, give me some time, Achilles said in a deep voice. He was not suitable for a face-to-face fight now. Olivius might KO him in an instant of viciousness. Allow me. Carrying his big sword, Mu Gen rushed forward with big steps. The wind god and flaming elite guard just flanked him. Mu Gen nodded his head slightly. This Wang Zheng was indeed not one to be belittled. He thought far ahead. It was like playing chess. If the first step was right, then it would be followed by a series of steps. The giant withstood, the scouts disturbed, and in addition, there was an Achilles to do the overall coordination. This was an attempt to set a death trap for Olivius. Wang Zheng's idea was good and his battle tactics were right, but that did not mean that there would not be changes in real battle. Mu Gen rose towards Olivius. Mu Gen was really not afraid of anyone in terms of strength. Besides, the recovery ability of giants was super strong. This was a special characteristic coming from a life planet. He had the absolute confidence to block his moves. His big sword swung fiercely towards Olivius' Overlord. A hint of killing intent flashed through Olivo's eyes. Following the big sword, the Overlord mech attacked. Its long spear directly pierced through the giant's mech. Both Zhongshan and Lai Xin were slow by half a beat. Their coordination was in the distance and Mu Gen had long forgotten about that at this moment. A difference of a few millimeters was akin to a difference of miles. Who he faced was the Asura Olivius. The long spear pierced through the giant mech and directly pushed it onto the wall. There was a vicious expression on Olivia's face. Who? A big shield slammed directly towards the giant mech, Hong. The gigantic giant mech was directly flattened. It totally sunk into the wall. It was then that Olivius slowly retrieved the long spear and faced Lai Shen and Zhang Shan. They totally did not dare to go near him. Facing a herd of baby sheep, what was there for a lion to be afraid of? In the middle lane, Wang Zheng, who had been kicked into the air, did not receive any damage. He borrowed the strength to escape from the battlefield. Martsu also did not give chase. He took a look at the ground. His opponent's mature defensive technique indeed surpassed normality. It was no wonder he could beat Olivius. Heavenly Overlord Arts. Martsu, Primordial Regression Technique, Wang Zheng. Wang Zheng spun his shovel. It was very obvious. Martsu's strength was on a different level compared to Olivius. It was more vicious. However, it was not much tougher than imagined. From his opponent's voice, Martsu seemed to have already totally sensed his opponent's judgment. Everyone needed time to strengthen. The world was very big. Today, everyone would see the #1 physical cultivation technique of the Milky Way Alliance, the Heavenly Overlord Arts. This was something those random cultivation techniques could never compare to. The excitement of Saruman Snake's supporters did not last for a minute. It disappeared immediately without a trace. 4 versus Olivius and 1 was killed in a second. The other 3 were obviously weaker. They could only stall Olivius. 3 versus 1 and they still had no advantage. Now they had to depend on Wang Zheng completely. If he could not defeat Martsu as soon as possible, he could only collect the corpses of the other 3. However, whether or not Wang Zheng could get through the battle with Martsu was already a problem. Martsu did not worry about the other side at all, and devoted himself to this battle. The alloy sword was raised up slowly. The Conqueror mech made a thrusting attacking posture. This was the warrior-type mech's most accustomed and sharpest method of attack, zero-style thrust. Wang Zheng raised the shovel, and the shovel slowly started to vibrate. Everyone sat up. When facing Olivius, Wang Zheng had chosen the Heavenly Dragon Knight mech, using toughness against toughness. But when faced with Martsu, he had chosen the Hercules, a more defensive mech. Now they had to see whether or not Wang Zheng's famous rotating shovel could block Martsu's attack. On Tita Star, Luo Fei looked at the news that came to them without saying a word. Lear, who had been keeping his eyes closed and resting, opened his eyes. What's the situation? Asura's 3 lanes collapsed, but Olivius counter-killed the giant. The other 3 are trying desperately to stall for time. Martsu's Conqueror versus Wang Zheng's Hercules. They are just starting. Obviously, Luo Fei had waited for a long time. When Lear opened his mouth, he immediately spat out everything in one go. Lear's expression did not change much. He just nodded his head and closed his eyes again. He was reenacting the battle in his mind. At this moment on the battlefield, there was a strange scene. Both Martsu and Wang Zheng, who had their attacking and defensive postures ready, did not attack immediately. Hong, a strange aura rushed out of Martsu. It was a very strange feeling. Especially those in the viewing hall, they could clearly feel a suffocating pressure. Was this an illusion? Why would it be like this? Zhang Feng finally could not help but stand up. Earth, rank. The youngest Earth rank person in the history of the Elite Academy had emerged. He was Martsu from Arbiter. After these soft 2 words appeared, the entire viewing hall seemed to be swept away by a hurricane. Shui Yu heard it and could not help but say excitedly, "The battle is not over yet, but everyone, there's good news. Senior Martsu has advanced to the Earth rank. He is the youngest Earth rank powerful person in the history of the Elite Academy, the undefeatable Asura." Suddenly, everyone was silent. Was there no reason left in this world? Asura was already so tough, and Martsu had also advanced to the Earth rank. How could other people live? Di Maria became pale. He suffered the hardest hit. He always thought that his failure was actually a tactical failure. Martsu's violence and his ability to be immune to ability X were actually effective only for a period of time. As long as he could stall him, it would be his world. But in fact, Martsu did not even regard him as an opponent. What did Earth rank mean? It meant that Martsu had abused them, just like abusing little kids. Fight again. They would suffer an uglier death. In the previous round, Martsu was just teaching Imperial Glory a lesson, and when facing Wang Zheng, Martsu used his real strength. This only happened when he met an opponent that he was interested in. Martsu did not attack immediately. The aura of the powerful Earth rank pressed over directly. Victory was natural. What he needed to do was make Wang Zheng admit defeat. Only in this way could he totally suppress the other party's wildfire-like rebellious aura. In this world, it was already busy enough just having arbiters and Oslons. There was no need to have other competitors. Sister, what happened to them? They are not even fighting. Why are they either pale or abnormally excited? Lin Weiyan asked curiously. She could not tell what the situation was like now. From the numerical point of view, it seemed like Saruman's snake had the advantage. From the situation now, it seemed like Asura had the advantage. Aina shook her head slightly. Martsu has entered Earth rank. The battle is over. She sighed lightly. Whether it was Di Maria or Hakatelan, they both lacked that one bit. Maybe their level of ability X were almost the same and might only be a bit away from the Earth rank, but they were worlds apart from an actual Earth ranker. Obviously, looking at the maturity of Martsu, he had definitely not just stepped into this realm. He really could bear it. He wanted to train Olivius before leaving the Elite Academy. The Arbiters really wanted to rule the Elite Academy all along. In a flash, heated discussions broke out in the various major military academies of the Milky Way Alliance. The youngest Earth rank individual. The Arbiters had set a new record again. Saruman's snake could only accept their fate. Even if they lost, there would be no resentment. Far away on Earth, Ares College was at a loss. The students were all quiet. After learning about the existence of the Elite Academy, they naturally searched for a deep understanding of it. The highest level of pursuit in the Elite Academy was the Earth rank, but many people could not reach it in their lifetime. In that place where geniuses gathered, only a handful of people could achieve that level. And Martsu was the youngest. In other words, he was a super genius of all geniuses. There was nothing else to fight in this battle, and this made everyone relaxed instead. Because Martsu's aura had appeared, the other people on the battlefield could easily feel it. Lai Xin and the others were all stunned. They had been struggling for a long time, and all kinds of tactics had been used. It almost seemed like they could fight it out, but in an instant, all chances disappeared. Zhang Shan opened his mouth and nothing came out. Achilles just sighed deeply. This was life. Wang Zheng, you jerk. Whack that guy to death for me. All was peaceful when suddenly, a very loud and clear voice appeared. Our master Xiao Fei was angered. What was the use of making a pose? Were warriors scared to death? What was Earth rank? She did not know, and she did not want to know, but Wang Zheng had to whack that DMN guy to death. Everyone was stunned, and loud laughter followed closely. The others did not know who this sexy woman was, but she was undoubtedly very childish. What did she think the Earth rank was? For every class of the Elite Academy, the man of the moment was hard to come by. Tempest, Dendi, and the others were like this. When they saw that Martsu had entered the Earth rank, there was infinite envy in their eyes. No jealousy, only envy, because only those who came close knew how difficult it was, how much people yearned for it. This was a warrior's dream. Maybe this is just fine. Tempest sighed and seemed to have made a conclusion. Dendi opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he stopped suddenly. Hong, a nearly identical aura rushed out of the Hercules. This. God. The aura of an Earth rank. All the discussions, all the laughter, all the high spirits, everything stopped. The proud Arbiter Republic, the rare arrogance of all the Arbiter warriors, came to an abrupt end. The youngest Earth rank powerful person had changed in a minute. He was called Wang Zheng, from Earth, from Ares College. He was only 21 years old. This was the actual youngest Earth rank individual in history. How is this possible? Is he really human? This guy is practically. Who is he? A 21-year-old Earth rank. There's no room for anyone else. When did Earthlings become so strong? Is he really an Earthling? Is Earth rising? 21 years old, Martsu is already 25, right? He's older by 4 years. Instantly, close to 10,000 top-notch military academies in the whole Milky Way alliance were in an uproar. What did a 21-year-old Earth rank expert mean? This was practically like a dream. Whether he achieved victory or defeat, the whole world would remember this person called Wang Zheng. Xiao Fei's gaze swept across this group of easily shocked people. What is there to panic about? Isn't it just an Earth ranker? Yao Ailun and Chen Shu at a side puffed their chests out and nodded calmly. In their hearts, they were screaming, wasn't it just an Earth rank? What's the panic? But at this moment, no one laughed. Was it not just an Earth rank? God, did you know how many Earth rank experts the whole Milky Way alliance had? Did you know how old they were? Olivius finally understood. He suspected it before, but when the truth surfaced, his heart still twitched. Earth rank. And Achilles, Lai Xin, and Zhang Shan were, on the other hand, pulsing with unlimited power. In their hearts, there was a crazy voice howling. They could win, they could surely win, they must win. Lai Xin, Zhang Shan, come to my side. Do not go further than 10 meters from me. Achilles instantly calmed down. Now was the time to win a victory for the team. This would be the first time people from the solar system would beat the arbiters officially on a global stage. For this moment, the solar system had waited for 100 years. Meng Ao and the others exchanged glances. When Martsu exploded with power, they lost all hope. However, Wang Zheng did not disappoint them. Rascal, let this world recognize our solar system again, recognize Earth again. General Meng Ao clenched his fist. Boss, FK. Martsu entered the Earth rank, but Wang Zheng also entered the Earth rank, FK. That's fierce. This time, Lear did not ask. Fatty Luo had shouted out. He could not hold it in any longer. Lear was silent. His eyes did not even open. The battle did not stop. Martsu's aura kept rising. A clash between two Earth rank experts. This was also a first for the Elite Academy. The problem was when an Earth rank met with another Earth rank, then they would have to see who had the deeper understanding. Obviously, Martsu was older by 4 years, and for arbiters, that was definitely not a wasted 4 years. At this moment, Wang Zheng needed to use his full strength to handle his opponent. Finally, a hint of difference appeared in the balanced aura. Martsu was suppressing Wang Zheng. Hong, when Earth rankers made their move, the sky and ground broke, the floor cracked explosively, and there were even signs of boiling dust. Martsu leapt into the air and attacked with the big sword in his hand. Instantly, he was in front of Wang Zheng. Heavenly Overlord Arts. Unlimited mad attacks. An unleashed Martsu was like an unsealed one. He was truly the successor of the Heavenly Overlord Arts. He showed the true meaning of being tyrannical. The alloy sword hacked with a violent gust of wind. Hong, the rotating shovel did not evade, it met it directly. Weng, there was a deafening explosion. The shovel spun crazily. However, a building behind the Hercules crashed with a loud sound. Legend said that an Earth rank warrior could slay a city with a mech. Many people did not believe that. Many people were suspicious of that, because this was an atheist world. Now, everyone believed it. Hong, 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 Hong. The big, alloy sword executed a crazy flurry of attacks surrounding the Hercules. Every blow broke the sky and the earth. All the buildings surrounding the two mecha were cleared within 5 seconds by Martsu. The strong aura directly swept away all the things. This battlefield could not contain any irrelevant things. Upon entering the Earth rank, it was much easier to borrow the power of the heavens and the earth, especially for those who knew cultivation techniques. Very obviously, Martsu had a deeper understanding in this aspect, hence he could attack actively. Even for Zhang Feng, such a battle also had its worth to serve as reference. Every Earth rank warrior had their own unique understanding towards the power of the heavens and earth. It was also like humans who could never step into the same river stream. Inside and outside of Inner Roland, there were countless people. Everyone was shocked by this scene. When they heard of the Earth rank title, their first reaction was, a powerful person, so cool, so strong. But what type of strong? What were they strong at? Strong to what extent? This extent, they were the strongest warriors, the destroyers. Maintaining such terrifying attacks, Martsu still did not stop. The Heavenly Overlord Art's unlimited continuous attacks were, as its name described, to attack until all opponents were dead. This was tyranny. No reasoning, undefeatable. Kill the god that blocks his moves, kill the Buddha that obstructs all. Undefeatable arbiter. It was the first time everyone, including people from the elite academy, had witnessed such a battle scene. The city battleground had started to fall piece by piece. It was like a battle of the end of the world. This was the result of two Earth-ranked warriors fighting. The residents of Tita Star had experienced it before. They called it the devil. This was a forbidden power. Olivius knew that he had to make a move already. Even if Martsu had the chance to win, he also had to get rid of these three people as soon as possible. Arbiter could not lose this battle, they had to win. As long as they joined forces as brothers, no one in the whole elite academy could defeat them. What Olivius wanted to do, Zhongshan and the trio obviously knew. But even if all three of them had to die here, they would not let Olivius go over. Olivius Overlord Mech was charging. His ability X flowed out. Any matter that was near his surroundings would crumble to dust by Olivius' Shockwave ability X. A total annihilation, total suppression. No one could block Arbiter. Olivius attacked. Zhongshan and Lai Xin immediately dispersed. Achilles activated his lighthouse system. He would hold back Olivius, which would allow Zhongshan and Lai Xin to look for chances. However, when there was only 5 meters left between the two parties, the Overlord Mech disappeared. FK. Invisibility. Even Achilles could not hold it in and cursed. The situation of the three of them coordinating with each other was broken instantly. Achilles' ability was like a rope. But this rope could no longer hold back this violent dragon Olivius. Lai Xin, be careful. Olivius Overlord Mech had already appeared in front of Lai Xin. Its long spear fiercely pierced out. Lai Xin was just a little surprised. She was no beginner and had experienced life and death. She did not evade. Scouts at this position already had no space for evasion. If she could exchange her life for Olivius, it would be worth it. Even if she could not trade her life for his, she wanted to ensure he was disabled. Lai Xin was going to be vicious. Her Lai Flame technique instantly rose sharply and she rushed up directly. Achilles wanted to stop her, but he was too late. The death hook swung towards the neck of the Overlord Mech. Zhongshan, go! Achilles screamed and rushed towards the Overlord Mech. The Wind God quickly went to support Wang Zheng. They might have a slight chance if he rushed over before Olivius. If Olivius went over, then everything would be over. Zhongshan did not hesitate. He trusted Achilles' judgment. When Wang Zheng was not around, Achilles was the battlefield commander. No one can leave, Olivius' voice sounded. It seemed like it came out of hell. The long spear attacked directly. The moment they exchanged blows, Lai Xin knew she had made a mistake. The fiery flame did not manage to make contact, and it started flickering due to the violent shattering force. Hong, the flaming elite guard, the mech together with her sword, was thrown upwards. In front of Olivius, who was like an overlord, this so-called life-risking move was too naive. On the battlefield, there were countless people who wanted to take his life with their lives. If he did not even have such judgments, he would not have made it alive to the elite academy. This was the difference in their ability to judge the situation. Completely ignoring the hooks of Achilles, he went with the flow and was pulled over by the chains. The Overlord Mech rushed towards the lighthouse warrior. Achilles gritted his teeth and his ability X broke out completely. In the training cabin, Achilles' nostrils and ears began to ooze blood instantly. His powers had not recovered, but at this moment, he could not care anymore. He had to hold on. Even if he could not do it, Wang Zheng certainly could. Let the solar system win once. She had submitted many times, kneeled many times. Maybe this would continue in the future, but let her win today. Even if more had to be sacrificed. You're seeking death. Of course, Olivius knew what Achilles was doing. Such draining of powers was practically playing with their lives. If it was minor, maybe he would have to rest a few months. If it was serious, maybe a few years. However, if putting your life on stake to stop Arbiter would work, they would not be Arbiter anymore. Who? Ah, for glory, long live the solar system. This was the dream of the solar system in the soul of a moon citizen. Hong! The overload mech pierced through the head of the lighthouse warrior and destroyed it directly. Don't even think about escaping. Everyone must die. Olivia's roar resounded through the whole venue. The whole world, the entire Milky Way saw how ferocious the Arbiters were. This was why Arbiters' warriors were always victorious. The completely militarized country had become the top power in the Milky Way alliance forcefully. Zhongshan gritted his teeth. The magnetic source was constantly thrown out. He wanted to go support Wang Zheng before Olivius reached him. The laser gun had been shot. A disturbance in the battle between powerful people might be fatal, so he had to remain calm. He had to find that moment to make his attack. He could do it. He had to do it. He had come here for this. Wang Zheng's flame hurricane produced a very strong recoil, it even came with lightning paralysis. Everyone knew that Wang Zheng was good at ice, fire, wind, and lightning, 4 ability X's. It could be said that he was the most well-rounded warrior in the elite academy. However, Martsu was the fiercest warrior. His ability X was opened fully. Martsu entered his berserker state, and in one moment, all of Wang Zheng's ability X and techniques seemed so powerless. Wang Zheng's ability X had no effect, and Martsu's attacks became even scarier and brutal. There was simply no solution. At the end of the last battle, everyone came to a consensus. The only option facing the violent Martsu was to run. If you ran, you might die, but if you did not run, you would definitely die. However, for a mech like the Hercules, it was absolutely impossible to run. Hong, 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 Hong. Wang Zheng's Hercules shovel had always rotated faster with fiercer attacks. He relied on power to defeat power. But this was the first time the speed of the rotating shovel began to decrease. This meant that all the power would be rebounded on Wang Zheng's own body. Once it crossed the boundary, Wang Zheng's arms would be crippled instantly. Zhongshan could already see the battlefield. He was also very familiar with Wang Zheng's situation. Zhongshan was already gritting his teeth. It was too late. It was definitely too late. His ability X had not recovered yet, but the 5th warp. But in reality, he had not reached the recovery time yet. In the training cabin, Zhongshan's face had turned completely pale. He used it forcefully, and aimed the laser gun at Martsu. As long as it hit, when Martsu was completely focused, as long as it hit, Wang Zheng would have his chance. He had to aim properly. Just then, a huge shadow came down from the sky. Overlord Sky Rocket Cannon. Hong. Coming from the sky, the Overlord shield smashed the wind god into pieces. The dream of the solar system, the dream of countless people on Earth, was shattered. At this moment, whether the supporters of Arbiter or those who were neutral, everyone felt like the Saruman snake battle team was too pitiable. It was such a pity. It was all a mistake because they had met Arbiter. The Van brothers ruled the elite academy and would continue to do so in the future. It's okay, Wang Zheng. If you are there, I am not afraid. Haha, actually, let me tell you, it's because I was envious of you that I changed departments. I think mech warrior is the most handsome and most manly profession in the world. Wang Zheng, when we go to the elite academy, we can do the same and kill our way through. I believe you. Wang Zheng, I have made a lot of progress recently. Don't worry, let me handle Sweeney. I won't drag the team down. No big deal. I believe in you. Zhongshan. FCK, I'm going to FC King kill you. He completely lost his mind and roared. The rotating shovel was originally slowing down. The flaming shield rebounding was also completely useless. Suddenly, it sped up madly. FCK, 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 I am going to kill you. FCK stupid reasoning, FCK stupid tactics. I am going to kill all of you. Hong. The power of ice, the power of fire, and the power of wind were mixed with lightning. This kind of ability X, which would definitely be problematic to use at the same time, erupted instantly. Wang Zheng's shovel burst with dazzling white light. The Hercules, who could only defend, carried a huge force, rebounding Martsu's endless attacks, and attacked Martsu directly. At this time, the Overlord mech was less than 20 meters away from the battlefield. Hong, long, 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 long. In an instant, Everyone's eyes were blinded. A loud, screeching sound pierced through their ears. Only deafening silence. Martsu's Conqueror mech was already smashed into pieces with the shovel. The Hercules alloy shovel had also shattered into pieces. Brother, father said that I can inherit the position of the heavenly overlord Arts King. Of course. You will definitely surpass me. Your ability is more stable and calmer. You will be the future commander to lead Arbiter to victory. Brother will be your vanguard. Brother, where's my little black? Why does father want to kill my little black? Father, why is brother ignoring me? What did I do wrong? The Van family does not want such sentimental rubbish. You have to be strong, otherwise, you will die. Martsu, if this rubbish is unable to become powerful, you will kill him. If not, he will just waste our resources. It was not until Martsu collapsed in front of Olivius that he knew that Martsu's coldness was the biggest barrier to protect him. When the elder brother was dead, it was the younger brother's turn. Earth rank. Who? The surging power exploded violently on Olivia's body. One battle, 3 Earth ranks. Everyone became numb. This was the craziest battle in the history of the Elite Academy, the one and only. Wang Zheng. Olivius. The Hercules mech pulled out a titanium blade, and the Overlord mech gripped its long spear tightly. It was time to determine victory. At this moment, all the military academies were quiet. Everyone wanted to know the result. Would it be Arbiter to continue to be invincible, continue to be the legend, and continue to let people in other countries look up and fear them, or would this person from Earth break the legend and build his own legend? A battle with 2 defeated Earth rank warriors, this would be the new legend. The Milky Way Alliance went silent for these 2 people. The same scene, the same 2 people left, and the same battle that would determine victory. This time, would Wang Zheng continue to win? Or would it be Olivius who would defend Arbiter's supreme dignity? Everyone's minds were blank. The 2 mech warriors moved. The Overlord mech was faster because Wang Zheng had already been fighting with Martsu for too long. Also, Olivius, who had just entered the Earth rank, was in a crazily violent state. Many people who were watching felt pity for him. A warrior who had just leveled up would be in their best state momentarily. Even spiritual understanding was at an optimal state. After that, the warrior would enter a weakened state, but there was enough time to make a difference. To attack at this moment, the Hercules, who was half dead, was at an obvious disadvantage. Its mechanical reactions were slower. The titanium blade was at a complete disadvantage against the long spear. Victory was set, so the hearts of the arbiters finally relaxed. Their legend would continue. Some professors from the Arbiter Military Academy heaved a sigh of relief at the same time. Zhang Feng had already sat down. He had recently been carrying out some missions and had not really paid much attention to the situations of these few students recently. After the battle, he needed to take a good look at the information, but based on the current standard being shown, it was most likely that his rank was not high enough for him to access the information. Olivius had already gained the upper hand in attacking first. An inch longer was an inch stronger. The spinning shockwave ability X combined with the spear was like a super electric drill. Even a peak state Wang Zheng could be killed with one pierce. Zung. Instantly everything was silent. The Overlord mech stopped in its tracks. Olivius also fell directly out of that amazing state. It was like having doused a person in a beautiful dream with a bucket of cold water. The titanium blade in the hands of the Hercules had already been lodged into the head of the Overlord mech. Sparks crackled and flew out. Wang Zheng spat out a mouthful of bloody saliva. Who said I had to hack you to death? The Hercules walked step by step until it was in front of the Overlord mech. The core wiring of the mech was concentrated in the head. Humanity's instinctive and habitual protection of the head had also been continued in the design of mecha. Everyone stared at the Overlord mech. Everyone stared at the Hercules. All the arbiters at the scene clenched their fists, their nails already cutting into their flesh, but they did not notice what they were doing. There was still hope, still a possibility that the fatal point was not hit. But in the end, the Overlord mech did not move. The titanium blade was pulled out. The Hercules pushed it lightly, and the Overlord mech fell with a loud crash. This moment was so slow in the eyes of the arbiters. It was as though their hearts followed the fall into the depths. The world of the arbiters also crashed. Until the last moment that it touched the ground, Sweeney could not hold back any longer and cried hysterically. Bayo and Simba's faces were also covered in tears. They have lost. Why had they lost? How did it end up like this? They were actually just a group of 20-plus-year-old youths. The dictionaries of arbiters now had the word failure. Wang Zheng's one throw ended the arbiter soldiers' 30 years of victorious history in major international military competitions. No one spoke. Everyone looked at the lone standing Hercules. Wang Zheng's head was also empty. He really won. So actually, sometimes, dreams could come true. That child looking at the mech poster had finally won this battle. A battle that he himself actually totally did not think he could win. That shovel was not for himself but for Zhongshan and all those brothers who had always believed in him. Finally, Wang Zheng also could not hold back and roared into the sky. He, who was in the mech, tore apart the clothes on his body. It was a rare moment of release of emotions and venting. Arbiter, the big mountain that had been pressing down since the IG had finally been moved away. Let me ask you again. Who else? Who else can win? Yao Island was being obnoxious again. He could not hold it in. Who King cared whether it was the Elite Academy or the Dog *T Academy? Undefeatable Wang Zheng, undefeatable Saruman Snake, that was fierce. At this moment, faced with countless powerful people from the Elite Academy, no one cared about Yao Island's attitude. Everyone was immersed in this battle. Wang Zheng's roar and the soft sobs of the steel-like arbiters formed a shocking tune. The arbiter team members emerged with their heads hung low. They had failed. This time, there was no excuse. They had really failed. This was the first time the arbiters had no face to lift their heads. They had darkened the name of their country. Martsu patted Olivia slightly. He led the group away silently. Before leaving, he looked silently at the opposite side. Wang Zheng walked out. Everyone was looking at him. Lai Xin and Mu Zhen followed closely. Mu Zhen's mouth spread into a huge smile. He knew Ada would definitely win. It was just that he was too stupid and needed to work harder. Just as Wang Zheng was about to speak, Lai Xin gave Wang Zheng a big hug, followed by a passionate kiss. Everyone was shocked. Lai Xin, on the other hand, did not care and laughed. What are you guys looking at? This is a kiss between battle mates. Everyone at the venue laughed, closely followed by enthusiastic applause. Everyone stood up. Applause and cheers spread from Inner Roland to the whole Milky Way alliance. Only Arbiter was dead quiet. Such a failure was unexpected. A person had been victorious against two Earth rank experts. This was simply unimaginable. However, Zhongshan and Achilles did not come out. The paramedics had already gone in. The two of them were carried out. Anyone's ability X had limited usage. It was like exerting strength. If one went overboard, they would have cramps, or even broken bones. Ability X was the same. Zhongshan and Achilles were forcefully drained and had already been spiritually injured. Besides, this type of overdraft was not used just by thinking about it. It could only be done at the moment that the spirit was at a point of extreme excitement as well as absolute determination. Everyone understood only now what the Saruman Snake team members had sacrificed, and what type of determination they had carried into this battle. This was a victory of willpower. On the desire for victory, Saruman Snake was stronger. Wang Zheng and the others did not celebrate. They followed the paramedics into the infirmary. The camera appeared on Wang Zheng's face. His ears and nose were bleeding, but mentally, he seemed to be all right. Actually, in this battle, the one to withstand the most was him, but this person, was he perhaps a body of iron and steel? Everyone was shocked again. They were shocked to the soul. Even if Saruman Snake ultimately did not win the championship, this battle would also be written into history. Enthusiastic applause continued, not only for victory, but also for the unity of this battle team. This was truly the strength of a team. Everyone gave out 120% of their strength. Victory did not rush into their heads and make them careless. At this glorious moment, what they thought of was their own team members. Seeing the moment Lai Xin kissed Wang Zheng, Ana's heart had an unexplainable, weird feeling. But thinking about it, what did that have to do with her? She could see that it was only an expression of extremely excited emotions. At most, it was a bit over the top. She could not be jealous, right? Thinking of that, even Aina could not hold back a giggle. It seemed like she was also affected by this round of victory. Wei Yan beside her, however, did not seem as excited. What is it, cute little Wei Yan? The Saruman snake that you supported has really won, aren't you happy? Sister, it was only these few people, but I feel that it's so sad. This does not seem like a competition, it's more like, Wei Yan did not know how to describe it. Aina smiled slightly. This is a war, a warrior's war. This is something they are willing to give up their lives to defend. Do you like Wang Zheng? Aina thought that when it came to character and ability, Wang Zheng really was exceptional. He has someone he likes already, Wei Yan said lightly. Actually, I'm not sure myself. I'm just joking. Is there anyone else in this world more beautiful and kind than my girl Wei Yan? Aina laughed. She obviously did not believe her. It must be that Wei Yan was shy, or maybe it was not time yet. After all, she was still growing. She had better not point it out. Wei Yan did not speak. She looked at her beautiful elder sister and had an answer in her heart. When the results were out, a scream erupted in the night sky of the expansive Tita Star primitive forest. Fatty was waving his arms and screaming crazily. Lear opened his eyes. Under the night sky, it seemed to carry the qualities of Mercury. Fatty had a shock and quickly stopped. He coughed dryly. Boss, this. Lear waved his hands. I know. Luo Fei did not speak. He was too clear on this. Lear had always treated Wang Zheng as his opponent. From individual ability, to the control of a team, competition in all aspects, but this time, Wang Zheng no doubt took the lead. Lear looked at the night sky. Luo Fei, I want to take a walk, let's go. Luo Fei was stunned. Who is Zhou? Zhou. Lear laughed. He had not laughed for quite a number of days. Come, I'll tell you. Fatty saw that his boss was in quite a good mood and immediately jumped down from the tree and went near his boss. In the end, a second pathetic scream cut through the night sky. FK, boss, why were you not sleeping in the middle of the night? What is there to see? Get some beauty sleep. The battle ended, but no one left. Even a powerful person like Zhang Feng did not understand how Wang Zheng had attacked two Earth-rank warriors at the last minute. This was also normal. Unless one was participating in the battle, they could not understand such details. Every part of this battle was a clash between mind and strength of the physical body. Just talking about the strength of physical bodies, the arbiters obviously had the advantage. But talking about mind, the solar system was better. It was a little ridiculous to make such a conclusion because everyone knew that people from the solar system had no minds, no perseverance. They rigidly stuck to protecting their own resources. They did not take risks, did not engage in any dangerous expansion. However, this battle changed many things. Of course, everyone's focus was still on the most important point. What power had Wang Zheng used at the end? The rotating shovel faced with Martsu's crazy, continuous attacks was in danger. The main point was that Martsu's ability X was to limit all sorts of ability X. Once he attacked, his opponent was done for. Faced with such an ability X, almost everyone's conclusion was to avoid and stall. Very obviously, Martsu's ability also had its weaknesses. Once he activated the ability, it could not be stopped halfway before it ended. And once it ended, Martsu would enter a weakened state. While imagination was good, based on Martsu's heavenly overlord arts cultivation techniques, avoiding him was just too difficult. Yet Wang Zheng at that instant actually took wood, fire, and water, the three elements of ability X, and combined them without thinking. This definitely was going against the basic rules of ability X. And it was only such a power that could kill Martsu with one blow from the shovel. That undefeatable defense of Martsu instantly disintegrated and he was completely unable to defend. That white light, it was so bright it did not seem to exist in this dimension. Zhang Feng's eyes shone. He knew what that was. But such power would definitely not appear on a person with only Earth rank ability. And it would not happen by chance. But it really did appear. Zhang Feng even believed that if Wang Zheng tried to repeat it, he could not do it again. But as for such a young person, things that appeared before were very likely to appear again in the future. Perhaps it was time he should make a bolder decision. As for what would happen later, Zhang Feng was not too concerned. This was something numerous people from other big military academies focused on. After all, there were still many powerful people inside. They all knew that Olivius had just entered the Earth rank. In a situation where his energy level was still relatively good, faced with Wang Zheng, who was tired out from continuous battling, he should have had the absolute advantage. Even if it was a flying blade, he should have been able to defend easily. Why had he made such a mistake? The instant a person entered the Earth rank, his spiritual understanding would raise to a very tranquil level. At that moment, he would be very sensitive to any changes in his surroundings. There was no way he could not react in time. After the scene played in slow motion for the first time, everyone still did not understand. But people like Dendi, Tempest, and even the proud Sarts, the audience went quiet. The analysis continued to slow down. That dagger looked like it was thrown out, but it disappeared the instant it left the hand. It was almost like it had teleported, and the next moment, it was already stuck on the head of the Overlord mech. There was no way at all to react. What power was this? Spatial ability or what? No one knew. The audience instantly burst into discussions. This was the finals, there had to be some explanation. It could not just end unexplained. Everyone was discussing, but no one knew. Because there were no obvious signs of space disturbance. After all, there were space-related ability X users present. While Ka Dao and Shui Yu majored in this, even though they were not experts, they really had understood all sorts of weird abilities. However, they were totally clueless this time. This did not match logic and physics laws. Teacher Zhang Feng, you need to give an explanation, the 5 elements professor said. This had exceeded the realm of cultivation techniques. It had to be those who were adept in both cultivation techniques and ability X to understand this. Zhang Feng hesitated. He also did not know if he should go in depth on this. Zhang Feng, you this rascal, why are you so indecisive? Do you know or not? If you don't know, you can resign now. Butcher was not going to be polite. Zhang Feng was his student in the past. Zhang Feng did not know whether to laugh or cry. He nodded and stood up. Everyone focused on this mech department teacher from the Elite Academy. Our Elite Academy organized this Greatest King competition for the purpose of strengthening the real battle experiences of our students. Of course, more importantly, we want to stimulate these geniuses' potential through competition. Olivius entered the Earth rank through this battle, and Wang Zheng's move just now should greatly be a coincidence. Because that does not belong to a move of the Earth rank. Zhang Feng smiled and nodded his head. He did not explain further. Instantly, the Elite Academy fell silent. Did not belong to the Earth rank. How was that possible? Was it perhaps the legendary Heaven rank? The so-called Heaven rank techniques required at least an A rank ability X to support. That was a level that even the Elite Academy needed to raise their heads to see and sigh. And this Wang Zheng had at most a B rank ability X. Zhang Feng did not want to say that, because he very clearly knew that saying so would create great pressure for other people. The opponent for the next round, the Imperial Glory Battle Team members, had already lost all blood in their faces. Whether it was a coincidence or not, whether or not he could use it again, this stress had already engulfed all these people. The pride on Di Maria's face had already disappeared fully. Coincidence was the realization of talent and potential. Even Zhang Feng was amazed, not to mention others. And the true meaning behind this attack was even more so not to be understood by outsiders. This rascal indeed did not leave any chances for others. You mean he, the 5 elements professor frowned. Zhang Feng smiled slightly. It's not that exaggerated, it looks like it. But based on his current age and level, even if it's just reaching the edges of that level, it's still amazing. A person who was not acknowledged before had suddenly made such an attack. Other than saying that his potential was too great, what else could be said? At this moment, Ka Dao's Skylink rang. It immediately played out the latest test results. Classmates Zhang Shan and Achilles are out of danger. But the two cannot continue to take part in the later competition. Zhang Shan could not use his ability X for a month. Achilles needed a longer period of time, about 2 months of recovery. The main part was he definitely could not fight anymore. The students from Earth and the Moon finally heaved a great sigh of relief. It was good enough that there were no negative after effects. It was already a miracle to be able to win this round. As for the fight with Imperial Glory, that was something for the future. The strong Arbiter Asura battle team had finally fallen in the face of God. Your Majesty the Queen, it is as you expected, Heracles said respectfully. Failure had not much effect on him. Yes, Your Majesty. After saying this, Heracles stood up and walked to Aina. Respected Princess, Her Majesty sends her regards. Aina stood and returned the gesture. She smiled. Please speak. Her Majesty said that she hoped you would make me the team leader for the next battle, Hercules said. Di Maria's facial expression changed. Was this slapping his face? To snatch his team leader position in front of him. Heracles did not mind. Aina was momentarily stunned. Suddenly, she thought of something. You can use. Yes, Your Highness. Her Majesty said that the time is right. I'll give it my all and regain the glory of the Phantom King. As you wish, the Imperial Glory battle team will cooperate fully. Aina said seriously. Aina of course knew what Heracles was thinking of using. This was the taboo of Atlanteans. The Atlanteans had never used it publicly. What was the reason for suddenly wanting to use it? Purely to get back the glorious name of the Phantom King? That did not seem so. The Atlanteans actually did not care about empty titles. The situation of the Saruman Snake battle team was not good. Their scout and corps commander were done for. Wang Zheng, Lai Xin, Mu Zhen, Takumi, Ali. Could such a formation fight the Imperial Glory battle team? While their morale might be high now, the final battle was in a week. The morale now would quickly calm down. Imperial Glory would also have walked out of their failure because the Asura battle team were not any better than them. Now that they were psychologically pacified, their strength would return. Of course, the only difficult point was Wang Zheng, except they did not know if Wang Zheng could recover fully in 1 week. This time, it was really a big turn of tides. It was unknown how the betting odds were like in the black market, but it was certain that no one would have thought that Saruman Snake could take down the next team, especially since it was Asura. All these things had nothing to do with Wei Yan. The little princess was a little blur, her thoughts had floated elsewhere. Victory! 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 Ares College started a parade-like celebration. The warriors from the mech department were all screaming heartily outside the venue. People near the elite academy were all shocked to see this. As the most famous academy in the capital, were the students here all mad? One student after another rushed onto the street and cheered till their throats were hoarse. This group of students seemed to be screaming a name, Wang Zheng, and Ares College. This college's traditions and base were recovering bit by bit. Ever since that new principal, Xiao Fei, had taken over, visitors to the capital realized that the students from Ares College were more active and more confident. They showed off as much as possible, released their youthfulness as much as possible. This made many experts who doubted Xiao Fei very shocked. How could this person who knew nothing about military affairs be a principal of a military school? Just because she was a famous scientist? Or because she was a young and beautiful scientist? That was illogical, but the reality was such. The teachers in charge of attracting students to Ares College were going crazy. What was happening? Within a short period of time, they received numerous queries from within the solar system and even from outside the solar system. God! It was like countless students wanted to understand the recruitment conditions of Ares College. The recruitment period was already over. The results this year was not bad. Within the solar system, Ares College's recruitment conditions had entered the top 5 and covered all the general colleges. Except, where did all these people come from? Hi, I'm the department head for the mech department of Leah Sphinx Da Vinci College. Our college wants to do a one-time exchange program with Ares College. How do we? I'm from the Gemini Republic. I'm from the Arbiter Republic Furnace Military Academy. The teachers and students from Ares College were all in a mad state. Wang Zheng's battle had totally made the world take note of Ares College. The elite academy was only a place where the elites gathered. It was the glory of a student's ability, and the other empires and federations were looking at their roots. Wang Zheng's alma mater, Ares College. To be able to develop such a student, such a college was definitely not just depending on luck. And there was also Zhongshan. This college taught their students not only knowledge and techniques, and actually these were all secondary. What a military school had to imprint on their students were perseverance and faith. This was the soul. If outsiders knew that some students from this college had defeated students from Arbiter in an international competition, they would not think much about that. But for the people from the high-ranking military academies, especially after watching such a battle with their own eyes, it had a huge impact on their souls. They wanted to know what type of college structure had developed such students. The enthusiasm in the elite academy, while not receding yet, but was less exaggerated than the various alma maters. Zhongshan and Achilles continued their treatment in the hospital. The doctors had released their diagnostics. These two definitely could not take part in the third round. Sometimes, you had to admit that Aslan's luck was really good and that they could reap the benefits from the previous round. The Saruman Snake battle team had totally become an incomplete formation. The only constant threat lay on Wang Zheng. This battle had allowed Wang Zheng to make a name for himself in the elite academy. He would have unlimited glory in this place where powerful people gathered. This battle had allowed him to take off the shackles that was the status of an earthling and really stand on the international stage. No one dared to belittle students from Earth anymore. Not only that, but because of Wang Zheng, other people also started to have a new understanding of Earth, of the solar system. Achilles, Zhongshan, and Lai Xin had all performed very well in this battle, Mu Zhen as well. Perhaps, the history of heavy mecha pilots had to be edited. The situation where the three countries, Arbiter, Gemini Star and Northern Star, dominated the heavy mecha would end soon. The Titanitan giants were starting to walk towards the Milky Way Alliance stage. Even though these giants had the problem of unsophisticated techniques, winning 10-by-1's incredible strength, they were not as clumsy as imagined, and not as stupid. To be tricked by their appearance would be a costly mistake, and they did not fear death. Some warriors were trained to not fear death. And the Tita citizens that Mu Zhen represented treated death in battle as glory. This mentality was so ancient to humans. This was perhaps something from 100,000 years ago. The warriors had ended their battles and therefore needed sufficient rest. Wang Zheng was the same. But even at such a moment, Wang Zheng wanted to complete his use of the primordial regression technique. He was already used to it. This way, he could maximize the absorption of the feeling of this one battle. Actually, other than excitement, Wang Zheng also had some laments. The Asura battle team was indeed stronger than Saruman Snake. If this were a 3-round battle, Saruman Snake could not defeat Asura. Even his defeat of Martsu and Olivius were greatly based on luck. It was only after Wang Zheng gave up on thinking and entirely relied on instincts that his ability X could totally converge. This mysterious state was just too lucky. Now that the battle had ended, his mind was in a blank state, but the aura of primordial regression technique indeed had strengthened quite a bit. The Van brothers were indeed strong. It was because of such opponents that the road to conquering was more interesting. After finishing his training for the primordial regression technique, Wang Zheng fell asleep in a second. A happy smile spread on Wang Zheng's face when he was in deep sleep. Mu Zhen had long fallen asleep with loud, snoring sounds. Humans like to stay up late. This was too different from the lifestyle of giants. Classmate Mu Zhen really needed some time to adjust to that. Lai Xin, on the other hand, did not sleep. Her self-evaluation for this battle was not high. Forget that Zhongshan was fighting as if his life depended on it, she did not expect Achilles to do the same. It seemed like this guy who was prideful to the bone had already accepted Wang Zheng. From the first time she saw Wang Zheng, until the present, much time had indeed passed. Initially, that guy who came from Earth was totally a person lying at the edges, he was not mainstream. Thinking about the attention he got today, it was really a miracle. Lai Xin licked her lips lightly. While today's impulse was indeed because she was too emotional, as a woman, at least half was calm. This man looked ordinary at first glance but belonged to the type that became more and more attractive the longer you had contact with him. It was a pity that this type of man was also stubborn. He was determined to be hung up on the tree that was Aina. But thinking about it, if it were her, she would also love that tree. There was no doubt that both Wang Jung and Aina were very strong attractions for Lai Xin. Lai Xin thought that she should not have such corrupt thoughts anymore. They had taken down this battle, but what could they do about the battle with Aslan? Having insufficient reserves was not a reason. If Di Maria was smarter, his ability was the one that was difficult to utilize. You could say that Di Maria's ability X level was the highest. The ability of time, that was something only to be desired. Aslan's formation was complete, and the Atlantean was also difficult to handle. Aslan's biggest mistake was not learning from Arbiter's toughness. They should maximize their battle tactics of advancing and retreating. This was truly what they were very good at. The best rhythm was the rhythm that was most suitable. But she hoped that Aslan had not noticed this point. Lai Xin smiled slightly and stretched. She took off her clothes and threw them aside. Facing the mirror, she admired her own sexy, tanned body. She seemed to be a little hot and needed a cold shower to calm down. Ai Xiaolu and Luo became good friends. The two of them had similar family backgrounds but were from different areas. They would not become direct competitors. Also, they matched in intelligence and emotional intelligence. They were simply a pair made in heaven. Did you guess it? Luo smiled while holding a cup of dreamy Milky Way. Ai Xiaolu shook her head. Who would have expected that? The attitude of the two was at most giving Saruman Snake their support. Both were reasonable types of girls. Of course, they knew how terrifying the arbiters were, but Wang Jung had actually really done it. Luo received the congratulatory text from her father. While it was just a simple sentence, Luo knew the weight, and obviously her father admired her judgment and foresight greatly. On their level, the most important thing was foresight. They did not need to have real movements, and only needed to identify the right people. Luo watched more closely. Zhang Shan's improvement, the others' confirmation. Wang Jung had a way to tie this group of proud people together. You have to know that it was internationally recognized that the people from the solar system were the least united. One person from the solar system could be a dragon, but the more there were, the more cowardly they became. But such a saying was not true about Wang Jung. Based on Wang Jung's current situation, he should be quite confident in taking down Imperial glory. Ai Xiaolu laughed. As the leader, she was also feeling great glory. Many in the elite academy thought that this was yet another successful operation of the heiress of the Ai family. This event had also boosted her fame greatly in the Hail Cloud Alliance. From young, Ai Xiaolu was famous for her foresight. After staying low-key for a period of time at the elite academy, Ai Xiaolu had re-emerged and gained great victory again on her involvement in the business of Tita Star. And to her taking on the leadership of a random brand battle team, many people in the Hail Cloud Alliance all thought that that was something strange. Now all these people obviously shut up. She really had foresight. But Luo shook her head. That's what we need to remind Wang Jung of tomorrow. I got word that Imperial Glory is changing captains. Again, Di Maria's not bad, and a last-minute change can't be a good thing. Ai Xiaolu was surprised. She had not thought Aina to be so wise to the matter. Among the talents of this generation, Aina was the only one who Ai Xiaolu found totally mysterious. This was also perhaps due to their relative positions. Aina was the only one who she conceded nobility of birth to. The Atlanteans seem to have mastered some power. They will be using it in the fight against the Saruman Snake battle team. A taboo power. Have you heard anything about it? Luo said. Taboo power. Ai Xiaolu had not. This is some Atlantean secret. Haven't you wondered why the Atlanteans don't directly convert their prodigious mental energy into Ability X? Ability X is actually an intuitive response between the innate human body and the universe. Their mental energy is so strong, but they have always been reluctant to use it. You mean, the Atlanteans have not even used half their strength? Ai Xiaolu was shocked. Could be. I haven't seen it before either. But this change, the Atlanteans volunteering, I guess it must be so. Otherwise, he has no reason, and Aina would not agree either. That princess is also a remarkable one. Luo smiled. On this, Luo and I Xiaolu were on the same side. No matter how strong the Atlanteans are, can they be stronger than the Arbiter guys? I don't think this deserves worry. Let's see what Wang Jung thinks. If he wants to win, I think it will still be easier than Arbiter. Kiki, I've always been curious. What exactly is the complication between Wang Jung and Aina? Luo suddenly asked. Ai Xiaolu turned her own cup, her voice a little distant. They were in love once. You know how the Aslan Imperial Palace conducts itself. Eventually they broke up. Who would have thought that something would happen to Aina at the Milky Way Military College? There was a fault in her mental state, and you know how the Imperial House insists on mental wholeness in its descendants. That's why they requested for Aina to come here. Luo smiled. No wonder. But I'm still quite curious. If you said that she liked the Wang Jung of today, that's understandable. But the way you told it, they must have met very early on. Wang Jung must have been a nobody back then. How could Aina have fallen in love with him? Luo's inadvertent remark made both their hearts skip a beat. Her eye was just a little better than theirs. Although neither would admit it, a good eye meant nothing. He was only yours if you captured him. Whether it was a guy or a girl, this encouraged their desire to win. Should they conquer or steal? Zhang Feng retrieved the data on Wang Jung. He was quite lucky that Wang Jung's current data was still within his authorized access scope. His substantial improvement had come from the Theta Star battle, entering X490. Because this was an international dispute, the intelligence had been sealed. He had used a runic mech to kill an Earth-rank mercenary. Even without more details, this was enough proof that Wang Jung, at that time, was well within Earth-rank standard. As for Wang Jung using the skeleton mech to kill Fire Falcon, that had not been credited to him. Others had guessed that some higher force had helped him. Perhaps Arbiter and Aslan were out for each other. As for the Titan god that the Theta people claimed, everyone treated it as a joke. Of course, some occult clubs had shown interest in it as a good story. This guy was really low profile. He had no issues, and had a good personality. Zhang Feng had taken a liking to him. Although a win in this iteration of the Greatest King would not increase his ranking, at least it would consolidate it. The X-leaderboards were a reference at most. Battles for life and death were the fastest ways to rise. On this, Zhang Feng was clear. The key was potential and consent. He felt it was worth a shot. Zhang Feng closed the data and looked at the wall in his bedroom. He rested a hand lightly on it, and the wall dissolved in a water-like ripple, giving way to another room. The room sealed after Zhang Feng entered. One large, round table, 12 chairs. After about 10 minutes, each chair was supplemented with a person. But the furtive state still persisted. Captain, honored brothers, I have called everyone here today to propose a replacement, Zhang Feng said. There were only 11 on the 12 seats. One seat was empty. The 12 seats each had a symbol, representing the 12 ecliptic stars. Zhang Feng was representing the Golden Lion. The one hailed as leader bore the scales of justice. Please send the information. No one spoke. They received the data, but still no one spoke. Rule 12. Above 40 years of age, X100, above 30 years, X200. Zhang Feng nodded. But he's only 21. Scales of justice mulled this over for a while. To the vote, then. 6-5. Majority wins. Wang Jung will become one of the candidates. We thank Golden Lion for his nomination. They nodded, and their holograms winked out. Zhang Feng retreated out of the room, and everything was back to normal. Wang Jung, the real challenge was coming. As a weed, if he wanted to have a place in this surging masterpiece of a world, he needed strength. Looking at Wang Jung, Zhang Feng could almost see his past self. But he hoped that Wang Jung could surpass him. After resting for a day, Zhang Shan and Achilles were discharged. Neither's situation was serious, merely a mental energy deficit. Such a deficit was slightly more serious than physical ones. The recuperation method was simply rest and nothing more. Although Zhang Shan and Achilles could not participate in battle, they still hoped to render some assistance to the battle team. The Imperial Glory battle team was very strong, but at this stage, nobody wanted to lose. If the Saruman snake battle team lost to Imperial Glory, the school had indicated that things would be concluded. The three battle teams would be regarded as equally strong, with no greatest king. This was evidently something that many would not be happy with. There was no first place in intelligence, and no second place in martial arts. They must have a winner. But everyone was in a cold sweat over the Saruman snake battle team's lineup. Before, Lai Xin had taken up the scout position. That was still fine. Against Jin Yaoer, Lai Xin was no worse. She liked hard scouts, because she was hard herself. Although she had been targeted by Olivius, that was normal. It was Olivius after all. The tank, Mu Gen, sat steady. Against Anil, it was difficult to say who was better. The main thing was that Mu Gen was inexperienced. After the last fight, Imperial Glory could not help but target him as the weak spot. Another way was to let Takumi take the tank, and let Mu Gen be the offensive fighter. After all, the Giants' attack power was strong. But on the midfield was Di Maria and Heracles. Without Achilles, against these two corps, the problem looked unsolvable. In the last battle, it had been said that Wang Zheng had crushed his fight. In truth, each had made their own breakthroughs. If they had acted together, Wang Zheng would be defeated even if he sprouted extra heads and limbs. This was an unsolvable question. Ali could hold out for a while on the sniper position, but in truth, her firepower could not compare to Lu Dai's. They had talked it over for a whole day, but still had no viable solution. Wang Zheng was not a god. He had racked his brains as well, but it was difficult to find a good method. Besides, Ai Xiaolu had brought some worrying news, which is that the Atlanteans were planning to go all out on the Saruman snake battle team. Ai Xiaolu was clearly not one to unnecessarily scare people. This must mean that the perverted Atlanteans were bringing out an even more horrifying power. Di Maria or Heracles? Wang Zheng had to choose one. But who would face the other? Lai Xin. Lai Xin would definitely do fine as a fighter, but her personality was a little more stubborn. But she was also not on the level of Achilles and Martsu. Whether it was Di Maria or Heracles, they would beat her comfortably. Wang Zheng did not believe that after one loss, Di Maria would crumble. If defeat had dampened their morale, then Asura's defeat had pulled them back from the cliff. The disadvantage in their lineup was clear. That was why, no matter how they broke it down, everyone agreed that they needed a group battle to level the disadvantage. But group battles were also Imperial Glory's forte. It could be over in a short time. Di Maria's ability X was potent with killing power. If they could not engineer an opportunity for Wang Zheng to invite a decisive fight, then they would lose. There was still ample time before the competition. Perhaps a lineup shift could create some opportunities. Zhang Shan and Achilles were willing spirits with weak flesh right now. It was getting late, and everyone prepared to disperse and get some rest. Tactics could not be rushed into. After letting it go, and the heat dissipated from their brains, perhaps they would come to some new understanding. But Wang Zheng received a message from Wei Yan. She wanted to hold a celebration for Wang Zheng and his companions. At this delicate time. Was this Imperial Glory's strategy? Strategy or otherwise, the Saruman snake battle team accepted gladly. Everyone understood Princess Wei Yan's character. Besides, Aslan was not that sneaky. By right, the only one the Aslan people needed to watch out for was Wang Zheng. Imperial Glory's odds were at least 50%. Besides, it was good to relax both mentally and physically after a big battle. It was not a bad thing to take some time off at this time. Besides Mu Gen, the others had all arrived. Poor Mu Gen, that blockhead. He could not enter the city of the school. Besides their members, Ai Xiaolu, Luo and the rest had also come. There were many like Ison who had worked tirelessly behind the scenes for the Saruman snake battle team. Saruman Snake's achievements today were thanks to everyone's hard work and support. Of course, Yao Island and Chen Shu had come as well. They would come even if they had to be scalped in the process. Since the princess had invited them, everyone was happy. Zhang Shan would take a good bath and dress up, and even Achilles wore a formal suit. This was the custom of the moon, and also a courtesy. Aslan was such a presence that even opponents had to show some respect. It could be said that their kingly aura was solidified. Wang Jung had not thought so deeply. Wei Yan had always been easygoing. Since everyone was mulling over the plan to the point where their brains were about to fry, a change of mood might serve them well. Besides, he knew that this matter did not concern Imperial glory in the slightest. The Saruman snake battle team had not gathered together properly in a while now. They had almost forgotten the other side of life. While Wang Jung was in Tita, the Saruman snake battle team had been plagued with worry. And then, after his return, they had been caught up in the competition. Is it really all right for us to be taking it so easy before the battle? Takumi was exasperated. Yes, one should take a proper breather before the battle, but on the flip side, resting for too long weakened the spirit. But he would follow the majority. Relax, relax. Even if the sky falls down, Wang Jung will hold it up. We beat Asura. It's almost blasphemy not to celebrate that. Besides, were you thinking of rejecting Her Highness Wei Yan's invitation? Zhang Shan nudged Takumi and laughed. Takumi was taken aback. Of course I'm going. After I get back, I can brag for a few years, haha. Exactly, exactly. It's us who are able to accept Princess Wei Yan's invitation, Zhang Shan beamed. Looks like you both really like Wei Yan. Luo smiled. I'm quite partial to her songs. Too bad we Gemini star people are not too good at singing. Student Luo I'll sing a song for you in a bit. Zhang Shan waggled his eyebrows crazily. Zhang Shan, can it? Don't scare others away. I Xiaolu was getting familiar with them. Really, why isn't Snow here yet? Snow is coming too, Takumi asked. The competition's over, of course she's invited. We're all good friends. Isn't that right, your leadership sir? I Xiaolu said. Wang Jung laughed. Of course. The more the merrier. Then I'll call Vincent. Takumi hastened to say. He's a diehard fan of Her Highness Wei Yan. The two Aslan princesses had too much influence. Luo and I Xiaolu were highly born themselves, but their charms had to be acknowledged. Before too long, Snow Lee and Vincent had arrived, and the mood rose. Although Lai Xin was their age, she was a little ahead in terms of emotional development. For the sake of the battle team, she would not leave herself out. She preferred to drink alone and watch the cheer. That calmed her more. As for that kid Wei Yan, no breasts to speak of, and no butt to speak of. Men were strange creatures at times. When you asked them to think with their lower head, they were suddenly intellectual. Vincent was especially excited, hugging all of them. Since they had been teammates, there was no need to be formal. Who knew we would be where we are today? Vincent and Takumi were seated together, and Takumi poured him a drink. Kiki, and to think that you were the one who pulled me in back then. And now you've absconded first. Takumi laughed. There are always times in life where we have no choice. I'm genuinely happy for Saruman Snake. It stood up for all of us. Now our battle team looks up to Saruman Snake as a role model. Oh, what did Dendi say? If even Saruman Snake can rise from the dirt, then our eagle can definitely spread our wings and soar. Vincent mimicked Dendi, sending Takumi into a fit of laughter. A motley crew like Saruman Snake had beaten the iconic Asura, bringing hope and opportunity to countless people. Humans were strange. When they despaired, they were depressed. But once they saw hope, they could unleash uncommon power. Wei Yan had not arrived, but Zhang Shan already could not help rushing up to show off. Singing needed no ability X. Like before, when he went off key, he could find a crack to hide himself in. Everyone was naturally in a good mood coming off their victory. Quickly, the happy atmosphere built, and Wei Yan arrived before too long. Wei Yan was no stranger to them. Everyone knew that this little princess was good friends with Wang Jung. Although things were a bit more sensitive in this period, they were not that bad. Wei Yan arrived, and with her, Anil and Lu Dai. The little princess wore a lacy frock today, a beautiful butterfly hair clip perched on her head. It was minimal, but all the males present were struck by her arrival. Anil and Lu Dai were also beauties. It looked like they had put special pains into their appearance today as well, but everyone only had eyes for Lin Wei Yan. It looked like Wei Yan had taken special care today as well. Thank you, everybody, for accepting my invitation. My fighting power is equivalent to 0. That's why I'm not your opponent today, we're all friends. Wei Yan declared to laughter. In an instant, the awkwardness vanished. Lu Dai and Anil also relaxed. They were Lin Weiyan's followers. Although they had not understood Weiyan's decision, the princess had made her decision, so they would comply. It was just singing and drinking, wasn't it? Aslan people were afraid of nothing. Get em. Then, let's see who's the better drinker. Student Lu, I clearly remember your shot which immediately put me to sleep. Such fate we have. Let's drink 3 cups. Zhang Shan immediately came over. Lu Dai smiled slightly. A man must be chivalrous. 1 on 2, that's not too much of a request, is it? Lu Dai's smile dazzled Zhang Shan. Who would have thought that the cool sniper of Imperial glory actually had this side to her? Zhang Shan beat his chest without hesitation. We Earthlings are all real men. 1 cup for you, 3 cups for me. No discounts. How generous of you. Nearby, Lai Xin shook her head. Trash. After all, Zhang Shan could not compete. No matter if he was dead drunk. Lu Dai and Zhang Shan opened the field like that, and the rest became livelier as well. Wei Yan greeted everyone individually. In truth, everyone was still a little overwhelmed by her favor. Although they were peers, everyone knew the distance between them. It was said that Aslan's 2 beauties had boundless charms, and perhaps some held on to their pride and were doubtful. But when face to face with Wei Yan, it all vanished like smoke on the wind. Vincent was actually a little nervous, and a little incoherent with his words. Takumi's face was scrunched up as well, and trying to calm himself as best he could. Of course, a few of the girls were quite at ease. Compared to Aina's frightening aura and charms, Wei Yan was warmer and easier to get close to. Of course, Wang Zheng would not agree with this evaluation. Only that outsiders had not seen the affectionate side of Aina. Brother Wang Zheng, I haven't congratulated you on your victory. Wei Yan came to Wang Zheng's side with a warmth previously unseen. Wang Zheng smiled and was about to pat Wei Yan's head, when he suddenly realized that Wei Yan had already grown into a beautiful woman. She was only a head shorter than he was, but still as cute as ever. But her cuteness had mellowed into a young beauty. When he took a closer look, there was something beguiling about her. Congratulations in your heart will be good enough. Against Imperial glory, I won't hold back, Wang Zheng said. Wei Yan smiled. Brother Wang Zheng, you just do what you need to do. You know that Wei Yan will always be on your side. Haha, the highest honor. I should dedicate a song for you. Let's sing a duet. You forgot that there's a song where we sung together. Wei Yan smiled. I'll sound like someone chasing ducks to the rack. I'll sully your eminence. Wang Zheng chuckled. Many people are still trying to find out who that person is, but I'm not telling. It's our little secret. Wei Yan stuck out her tongue at him. Unbelievably cute. This enchanting little sprite. Looking at her, it seemed like the world was at peace. Kiki, even the princess has arrived. As the most handsome in the Saruman snake battle team, I, Zhang Shan, have come to cast my pearls before. Oi, Takumi, DMN, don't take my spotlight. Brothers, I support you. Go, Ison hollered. The few Earthworm Federation people had been lost upon arriving at Elite Academy X. Whether in terms of ability or Federation influence, they were too weak, and easily outshined. But at the Saruman snake battle team, they had found their own place and come this far. Perhaps they could never be as good as Wang Zheng or Zhang Shan, but the Saruman snake battle team was like a big family. No one would disdain them here. They fought together, and Ison's greatest fortune was meeting these 2 Earthlings. Right, let me dedicate, Love You Forever, to my true love, student Ison. Zhang Shan said passionately. Ison immediately stopped him. Sod off, my preferences are strictly straight. Zhang Shan did not sing badly. Even if not every note was right, he was not beyond hope. Effort made up for his shortcomings. Besides, Zhang Shan's passion roused the crowd. The more he sang, the more the atmosphere rose. After a song, everyone applauded. Y'all see brother's ability? Who's willing to take the mic? Like I said, this is called pearls before swine, Zhang Shan said proudly. Everyone laughed. Zhang Shan, looks like I have to teach you a lesson. Ai Xiaolu stood up. Let sister here show you what true talent is.